Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors, July the 10th at 6 p.m. in the Russell County Government Center. Again, welcome, and I'd like to start off first with a call to order and roll call. Tim Lovelace. Here. Carl Ray. Here. David Eaton. Here. Steve Breeding.
Here.
Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Morris Christian.
Present.
Luann Wallace.
Here.
Ma'am, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Lester. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order, and I'm going to ask that we have our invocation. I ask that you please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you, we thank you, and we praise you today, Father. Forgive us for where we fail you each and every day, and Lord, thank you for allowing us to come out and be a part of our local government. Lead, guide, and direct us, and help us be more like you each and every day. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
At this time, I'm going to ask for the approval of the agenda, and I think we have an amendment we need to make to that.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I think we need to add a section under the attorney's report that will address the vacancy that was created in the Sheriff's Department by resignation of Steve Dye. Is that correct, Katie?
Yes, we need
Okay.
the retirement of Steve Dunn.
Well, he resigned early.
Okay.
We need to put on there for the agenda about the petition for the writ of election.
Okay, so everyone add that underneath the county attorney reports.
If there are no other additions, I make a motion we approve the agenda as amended.
I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. At this time, this is a real special moment, I think, in our county, and we have a special lady that we want to recognize tonight, and we're going to do that by proclamation of the Board of Supervisors. And so this is in honor of Velma Mabry House Day, which will be July the 12th, 2023, when she celebrates her 100th birthday. So, Miss Velma, on July the 12th, we're wishing you a big happy birthday. But before you applaud Miss Velma, there's more. So we have a proclamation, and I'm going to ask, I know that Miss Velma is in a wheelchair, but I'm going to ask that she get pushed up to the front. And I'm going to come down there and we're going to read this so that everybody's going to hear it. And then I'm going to ask that the entire family come and have a photo op, if you don't mind. So get prepared for that, okay? This is special to all of us. How many times do we have the opportunity to say thank you for all you've done and for living such a wonderful life? 100 years. I'll be right down. Oh, wow. Come on up. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
I'm so sorry.
She said she's so excited.
Okay.
So don't tell them that you don't have any teeth and they'll never know it, okay? All right. So here we go, Miss Velma. Whereas Russell County, Virginia Board of County Supervisors are delighted to have residents of Russell County in Dank, Virginia with good morality and citizenship. And whereas Miss Velma Mabry House was born on July 12th, 1923 in Spartanburg, South Carolina, to the parents of Elizabeth and Emmanuel Mabry, and as a child relocating to Russell County as a long-term resident in 1930, and whereas after graduating from Swift Memorial College in Rogersville, Tennessee, and deeply committed to educating others, in 1941 started her professional teaching career, in which she taught for many years in several schools in our county, Russell County, including Artie Lee High School in Sawmill Holler, Lebanon, and Daint Elementary Schools until her retirement in the early 1980s, and whereas faithfully serving her community in the Daint Lives On Board, presently serving as mother of First Mount Calvary Baptist Church, and Clinch River Missionary Baptist Association, and previously engaged with various committees, mission boards, and most recently fully relinquishing her duties as the church treasurer. And whereas, as paraphrased by Miss Velma Mabry House, others, from Charles D. Meigs, Lord, help me live from day to day. Others, Lord, yes, others, let this my motto be. For even when I kneel to pray, my thoughts will be of others. And whereas we come to this momentous occasion to celebrate this prestigious centenary birth of Miss Velma Mabry House, reaching this super major milestone in her life for the wonderful age of 100, celebrating your 100th birthday. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Russell County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim July 12th, 2023, the first annual Velma Mabry House Day in Russell County, Virginia, and invites all residents to observe and commemorate throughout the week of a life well lived. Thank you, Miss Velma. You want to say anything, Miss Velma?
Huh?
You want to say anything?
No more than I want my teeth.
Miss Velma has lost her teeth, but she hasn't lost them. She has really getting them replaced. So she's embarrassed to be here, but anyway, it's all good.
Okay.
All right. Family, come and get your picture made, okay? All right.
You stand right there. We don't care. It took me a minute, but how are you?
Have you got them all, Caleb? Can you get them? Grandkids up front.
Get right here.
Are they all in there, Caleb? Okay. Yes, stand up, guys.
Yeah.
I come in here.
We're all trying to get.
See me?
Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday.
It's her turn. Take it home. You're my joggers. You're my jogger girl. Yes. Oh, yeah. It's over.
It's over.
Thank you. Well, I'm turning it over to you. I know he's better to be on down the road, because he's probably the oldest thing in the building.
Lonzo, I think this is wrong. I'm just going to, this is the one we need to do because if we do that.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate. Are you on TV? Maybe. They're looking the wrong way.
Wrong way. It's dumb.
All right.
I think this
We forgot to tell them they might be on TV. Thank you all very much. So, moving on from the proclamation to new business, I need to have an approval of the minutes. So
Yes,
we've got
paragraph
two
B.
sets.
That is correct.
We've got two sets of approvals. I can't remember. Katie, can we do these all at once?
You can do them as a slate.
Okay. I'm going to look to the board for approval of the minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the unapproved minutes June 5th, 2023 and June 26th, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Breeding. I need a second. Okay, I'll take either second. Ms. Porter? Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we need to have the approval of expenditures. They are presented in your board book.
So moved, Madam Chair.
I have a motion from Mr. Eaton. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Breeding. Any further discussion on those? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we're moving to item number 3 of the new business committee appointments for board consideration. First, we have the library board.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Susan Breeding.
I have a motion for Susan Breeding. Any further motions? Okay. I need a second.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor for Susan Breeding to be reappointed to the Russell County Library Board, say aye. Any opposed?
One abstention.
Any abstentions? We've got one. Thank you. And we also have that unfulfilled seat, so we don't have an applicant for that at this time.
For Ms. Yvonne.
Okay. Next, I'm moving on to the Russell County Department of Social Services, further known as DSS. I have 2 seats available. I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to put Scott McLaughlin.
Okay, I have a motion for Scott McLaughlin to be placed on the DSS board. Any further?
I'd like to reappoint Sharon Owens.
I have a reappointment for Sharon Owens. Do I have any more?
Yes, I'd like to appoint Jennifer Chumley.
I have an appointment for Jennifer Chumley to the Social Services Board. So what we'll have to do is we need to fill 2 slots. So I'll take it by reverse order. All in favor for and by the way, we do have their application in our your packets for Scott and for Jennifer. I don't know if I've seen Miss Owens's, but we'll take Jennifer Chumley first. All in favor, raise your hand, please. Got 4 votes for Jennifer Chumley. The next one we need is Sharon Owens. I'm sorry, 5 votes for that.
Yes,
Sorry, Vicky. Yes, Sharon Owens. 2 votes. Next one we have Scott McLaughlin. All in favor. 6 votes. If I counted right, did I count right? Okay. So we're filling the Social Services Board with Jennifer Chumley and Scott McLaughlin. Thank you very much. Next, we're moving on to the Russell County Tourism Advisory Committee, which is also known as our TAC committee, and all of those have reapplied. So each one of us has someone on there. So I have not heard from anyone on this. Are we
I've
good to
heard
go?
from Alice Mead, and I nominate Alice Mead.
Okay,
At
so we can take it as a slate. So if everybody has not heard from anybody, I have it.
If
Mine
everybody
is
wants to reappoint them as they are.
Yeah.
yes. All of mine
Okay.
have.
Shiloh,
Back
our
on.
tourism coordinator, the block is good to go.
Okay, all right, good deal. So I'll accept a motion to appoint the Tourism Advisory Committee back again.
I'll make that motion for
I
you.
have a motion from Ms. Dye. I need a second.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're coming to the citizens' comment period. So if you have signed up to comment, first on the list, I have Mr. Sonny Austin.
I guess everybody here knows me. I'm Sonny Austin. I'm chief of the Copper Creek Fire Department and also Moccasin Volunteer Fire Department. Me and Mr. Lester talked a little bit about some water tanks for the Moccasin building down there. I was sort of wanting to know how that was coming along. If the tanks had been ordered or
The tanks have been ordered, sir.
have been
Yes, they
ordered.
have.
All right. Another thing I was wanting to talk to you about was we've got a landing zone at Copper Creek. And it's really hard to get a gurney through in gravel. I'd like to see if we can get some help putting some concrete in. Probably a 20 by 20 with a sidewalk coming off of it to where we roll a gurney up to the helicopter. But it's really hard on patients, all it bouncing and stuff. And we've got only thing we got to do is form it up, put the concrete down. Everything else is ready. And I'd like to put a landing zone on Moccasin. We talked, Mr. Lester talked about that. Maybe putting it over about where the landfill was at or the dumpster was at in that field. Because the county already owns it. We don't have to have no right of ways or nothing. It wouldn't take a lot to put one in there because it's pretty much got some good level spots. That's all I've got.
Well, thank you, Sonny. And one of the things that before the meeting was talking about ladder trucks. Well, one of the other things that we're trying to implement is LTZs, those landing zones. Right now in Russell County, to be able to tram out, if you're on the backside, either Honecker, New Garden, Daint, or Cleveland, it's hard to get a patient out in a trauma, either a heart attack or a wreck or something else. So we're looking at LTZs around the county. That way they got a 15-minute tram time to be able to fly in and fly out quickly. That way we're within 15 minutes of an LTZ at any time. We're also working with the Honecker side at the Rosedale, and we're also looking at the Swords Creek area too, to be able to get in the backside of the county to be able, if an emergency occurs, that way we can have LTZs in place to where they can fly in and fly out quickly and not have to tram an hour and a half, depending upon the trauma into Bristol or Johnson City. So we're looking at that concept. So.
Thank you. Good deal. Next on our list, I have a Mr. Hugh O'Donnell.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I also have some materials. It was hard to read the signs back there. I've got materials for everybody. Thank you. I hope that didn't count against my 3 minutes.
It did not. It did not.
I'm here on behalf of some friends of mine that I'm also sort of representing in that she has a legal problem. And this year is my 50th year as a lawyer, which is one of the dates that we want to talk about, 1973. My clients run the El Palenque restaurant in Castlewood. And approximately a month ago, somebody from the board of alcoholic whatever showed up and told them that they were in violation of an ordinance concerning selling beer and wine on Sunday. And they immediately complied with what they were told. My wife and I frequently go to their restaurant and like it. It's a very popular restaurant in St. Paul, Castlewood. It's one, and it's a family restaurant. And anyway, the documents I gave you, I mentioned 73 is my 50th year as a lawyer. This ordinance that my clients have implemented was passed 2 years before I was born. I was in vitro, as it were. I was born in January of 46. This was passed in November of 45. A lot of things have changed since then. That year was only 13 years away from ending of prohibition. Anyway, this restaurant has been in existence with this management for 14 years. It's a well-established institution, but the problem that has occurred is not being able to sell any beer or wine and they're licensed to sell that, of course. Not being able to do that on Sunday afternoon has caused a real dent in their income. And it's important to note that the money that they make as a restaurant, a significant portion goes every month to Russell County. This has hurt their business. The beer they serve is Mexican beer, but other kinds of beer. It's a popular place and a popular institution, and the people are just hardworking people. And it's a family operation. It's basically owned by two sisters, and one of the gentleman who manages it is the husband of one of those sisters. And in their 14 years of operation, they've never had to call the police. about anything. And, you know, tourism is important, but it's also important to try to support the institutions that are there. And this institution needs your support. In those documents I gave you, there is a document from 1973 where this Board of Supervisors added an amendment. And I don't think anybody here is around. I mean, maybe Miss Mabry might know about it. But what they did was they created an exemption for private clubs. And the private club, now I'm old enough to remember the Vegas Club, because I came in 1980 and I think it was still going. I think there is another club that was around. And in terms of beer and wine, they did sell it because of that exemption. There is a statute, there are statutes in effect in Virginia that have been passed in the 90s that allow boards of supervisors to regulate this situation. And it would all you could do. My personal belief is that this ordinance serves no real purpose other than to make things harder for this business, which has the misfortune to be in an unincorporated area. It's a mile away from the St. Paul police if there's ever any problems, and I also think the sheriff's people eat there some. I run into them. And if you turn to 41129, which is the third document, it talks about local ordinances. The governing body may adopt ordinances, but you may adopt effective prohibiting the sale on each Sunday. But it also says that or fixing hours within such period during which wine or beer or both may be sold. They do not sell anything after 10:30 on Saturday night, because that's when apparently if you're serving food, with the rules say once you shut down the kitchen, everything else goes to it. So nothing is sold, no beers are sold after 10:30. The problem is the Sunday afternoon crowd is a significant portion of what they're people, and it's not people coming to drink, it's people coming to eat and having beer on the side. Mexican food goes well with Mexican beer. I know that personally. I'm a big fan of Dos Equis. I saw something the other day that Modelo has replaced Bud Light as the leading beer. So anyway, I hope, and I'm happy to meet with anybody who wants to meet with it, but this really does need to be addressed. We've lost a restaurant in Castlewood. Pizza Hut closed. I also need to mention that not only is this restaurant affected, but there's a convenience store 2 or 3 ways up that is also affected. There's a convenience store in Hansonville that also cannot sell beer on Sunday. There's no point to it, and it hurts people who don't need to be hurt. And I would somehow ask that, I understand that you couldn't do that tonight, but I would ask that some study committee or something, there's just no reason for it to continue. And it makes a big difference to these people. And it makes a big difference. I think they probably send $3,000 or $4,000 a month to Russell County. They have been, but if you want that income stream to continue, then helping them would be a difference. And like I said, the statute says you can fix it. And if you wanted to say beer before 12 is not allowed, I believe they would accept that. That's when people generally, in my experience, are in church. If there's some church issue, but really, this is not really a church issue. I mean, there's no crime in drinking beer with a meal, or wine for that matter. Anyway, that is the point, and I'm sure I've used up my 3 minutes, but this is really an urgent matter for these people, and it sort of came out of the blue with this person showing up, and I halfway couldn't believe it, and then I got the actual ordinance, and then something in 1945. I mean, it's weird for me to refer to anything before I was born. I mean, and it really something needs to be done, and I appreciate your giving consideration to
Thank
that.
you, Mr. Thank you, Mr.
And
O'Donnell.
if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I can. I didn't write my phone number on, but I can. If you have any questions, I'm happy to. I have taken the ordinance. I've given it to the county attorney. I haven't the updates now, but it just would really help this business.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming. Thank you. Ms. Patton, I will ask that you have a look-see at that and see what or if we can do anything to help the restaurant.
Okay, I can report back to the board what
Thank you.
options are for the board to consider at the
All
August
right.
meeting.
Appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else have any comments tonight? I only had those 2 on the list, so I will entertain anybody else that wants to make a comment. All right, I'll close public comments at this time. We have constitutional officer reports and requests, seeing none, or does anybody have a report for anybody? Also, moving on to the county attorney reports and requests, that would be you, Ms. Patton.
Yes, Madam Chair. The item that the board added to the agenda was in regards to the petition for the writ of a special election. I've passed this statute out, I think, before, and I've looked at it. Subsection A, upon first glance, it looks like that would have been maybe one we could proceed under and ask the court to set the special election to be held on the next general election. But when I read that a little bit more carefully, that's really there's no point, because if you follow that section, you're setting the special election on the general election, and so the sheriff is on the ballot this year. This subsection would apply, for instance, if say that there had been a vacancy in a constitutional office next year when they were not on the ballot, and so the purpose of it to set it on the general election would just to be able to save money, because the special election that has to be held countywide for a constitutional office would cost a great deal of money. So the situation I feel like that we're in at this point, subsection C does not apply, because the retirement's already taken effect. But it says if a vacancy in an elected constitutional officer occurs within 12 months immediately preceding the end of the term, that the governing body may petition the circuit court to request that no special election be ordered, and that the highest ranking person would fill that position. And so the reason I think that you don't do it under subsection A is because then you wouldn't have technically an elected person for until the general election. So I think that's why there are two subsections, to give that when the vacancy occurs during that year that the constitutional officer is going to be on the ballot.
Okay, so we basically need a motion to take care of this situation we find ourselves in, right?
Yes, because we're in this, after I've read and reread the statute, because we are within the 12 months, then unless the board wants there to be a special election at the same time as the general, then you would just say that no special election and just let the general election occur.
Okay, well, I'll take chairman's privilege here. I really don't want to spend any extra money, and I don't see any need to do that. So,
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we go with paragraph B of 24.2-228.1, which says that the governing body may petition the circuit court to request that no special election be ordered, and that it'll just be handled at the general election. Is that correct, Katie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that's the petition that I'll file in circuit court.
okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Breeding and Ms. Patton. Okay, do you have anything else on your?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we're moving on to the county administrator reports and requests. Mr. Lester, looks like you've got the largest bulk of the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First on the county administrator reports is from the Office of the Comptroller. As this is the Russell County recipient, sorry about that, CARES review report. This is from the Office of the Comptroller from the Department of Accounts that has confirmed that Russell County did meet during our COVID, our CARES review, that we were in compliance with federal and state regulations. So this is just to say that we confirmed we did what we were supposed to do. We did our due diligence, and we did our reporting as required. Next on the county administrator reports is, again, from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Resources, which is VDAC, which is the state oversight agency for our animal control shelters. And as you can see in the packet, is the license inspection that we just had on June the 27th, 2023, that the only notation that was cited for us was actually out of 3.26575, which is only an administrative code. We printed off the forms on the adoption forms, and then we had them reprinted, and the date got mixed. And so believe it or not, it was just a date line. So since then, it has been corrected, and we're moving on. Next on the county administrator reports is, of course, the VDOT monthly road system report. As you all can read through your package, those are the roads that are being maintenance. We're coming into the paving system, et cetera, et cetera. Please take a look at that. Next one is a very important. This is the annual one in Russell County that only has 11 canneries in the whole state of Virginia. So we're getting ready to open up the Castlewood and the Honeacre canneries on July the 25th of 2023. So my staff has tested them. They are moving in to do their last minute cleaning. The boilers have been, and equipment has been tested. Jars have been ordered. We're getting ready to pick them up. Yes, you can.
What about cans?
And cans.
Down
And
here.
cans.
What about I've
got-
had a lot of people wanting the smaller cans, pints and quarts.
I've got pints. I mean, not pints, but I got quarts. Yes. And the pints are, but they actually cost as much as a quart. So that's why we chose. We got 5,000 quarts. So with lids. So if you run, I think there's like a few cents variance between the pints and the quarts. So I figured for the bang for the buck, we could work those numbers out. So Next on the county administrators is the county administrator request. As we had seen at our budget meeting before, the Russell County Recovery Inc. on the opiate application for 22-23 for $26,000 and 23-24 for $111,200. As y'all seen in the application, I need the formal motion for that grant application for both fiscal year 22-23 and 23-24.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Ms. Dye. Thank you, Mr. Breeding. Okay, I have a motion and a second to, for the application grant for the opioid. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the county administrator request is from the Department of Criminal Justice Services for the RSO's incentive grant programs. This is grant 24-290B for $222,210.08. And then also grant number 24-422 Alpha for $222,208. I need a motion for both grant A and grant B.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to accept both of those grants, A and B. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next, as again, another grant, which we have quite a few tonight. This and also is from the Department of Criminal Justice. This is a ARPA law enforcement equipment grant for $481,000 for the Sheriff's Department to purchase equipment with. I need a motion and approval for $481,000.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next is another grant on the Wellspring Foundation of Southwest Virginia. This is the Dane Steam Building Renovation Project and the Bernie Williams Workforce Center that has been proposed in a partnership between that and the Workforce Development Board. This is a grant from the Wellspring for $113,877. I need a motion and approval on that one.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Eden and Mr. Christian. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, another grant, from the Virginia Coalfield Economic Development Authority, of a CETA grant for $25,000. This is a lower bed lake feasibility study request, and also for the public notice for request for proposals for the lower bed lake access development feasibility study for engineering technical consulting services. I need an approval for the $25,000 and release of the request for proposals for the engineering technical study.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. I have a motion and a second from the committee members that's moving this very fast. Thank you very much. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next one is also another grant from the Department of Criminal Justice. This is the Victim Witness Grant for $65,100. I need approval and a motion for that appropriation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second for the Victim Witness Grant of $65,100. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the request is for the Mark O'Mara, the Champion of Choices. This is for the Russell County School events for $6,000 from the Opiate Program Grant. I need a motion for the approval under that program for $6,000.
I'll make it.
Second.
Oh, gosh. I have a motion and a second, a real quick one. And any discussion? I will add that we did reach out to the opioid folks that we're supposed to, and it met the gold standard. So we're ready to move on that. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next is, as you can see in your packet, this is a partnership that we do with the Highlands Juvenile Detention Alternatives Program that we partner with between Washington County, Smith, Lee, Scott, Wise, Buchanan, Dixon, Tazewell, and Russell, and the city of Bristol and city of Norton. As you see, this is a traditional resolution in place that we keep a partnership in place with this program. I need approval for this resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I've got a motion and 2 seconds. I'll take either one of those. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any
Thank you.
abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the county administrator request is for a tire shredder from BCA Industrials. This is a portable semi-tire shredder cutter that we have to do by DEQ and code for our tire shredding, our industrial side. I've got a bid here for $36,500 for the landfill. I need approval for this sidewalk cutter and shredder.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carl.
That's all right.
I'm going to take Carl's, and I'll take a second from Ms. Dye. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I've got a question. I know that the Waste Management Authority had purchased the big red unit that does the tire shredding, and that was supposed to be going from county to county. Is this a secondary unit that we'll have to purchase?
This is a unit that will be at our landfill with it tramming between 3 of the Waste Management Authorities. David, you said on the board, we have so many tires between the 3 counties that we can't get our services, and they're starting to back up, and we're starting to become almost in violation of DEQ regulations. So
Thanks for that information.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know. I knew we had purchased.
We're still got it, but
Big red.
It's
Big red's still traveling.
but we're getting so many.
I'm in favor of this. Just
Yes, absolutely. This is a big dollar saver. This keeps us from tramming it down and paying, the Bluffhole landfill. Yes, absolutely.
Can we pass any of this savings back to our citizens?
This savings on this is more on the commercial retail side. We are working with garages and tire service companies. This is at that level, still at the residential level. We still have one of the small ones up there that do the small tires for the automobiles, but these are the big truck tires that have to be cut and wheeled down. Yes.
Okay, I'm with Tim on that one because I have no problem at all giving my support to this, but I do think that it's proper that we look at helping. I've had several citizens ask about the tire rate and the cost to get rid of their tires, and they really want to do the right thing. So if we could offer some sort of a discount, I don't know how you do that. I don't want to get into that tonight, but I do think that we need to look at that.
well, it keeps them from going over the hill.
Yes.
And Madam Chair, we're actually talking with the retailers, and we've got a company that's going to is trying to work out a partnership with the tire companies and the auto shops to where they pay him to pick them up. So that way they stay out of the, when you take one out, if you go have your tires changed, he picks them up and he'll come in and shred them. And the retailer will pay for that cost per tire. So now, if you take them off yourself, that would be the only time it'd be applicable. But
Gotcha.
Our bigger service centers, our automobiles, our retailers, our tire services, we're going to be working with them to be able to pick these up and have them district. JJ is looking at contracting with services, and he's got many of them already under his umbrella already.
Don't most of the tire companies charge a fee for disposal of tires?
Yes, they do. And what he's going to do, he's going to charge them that same fee to pick it up, and he can make it on volume because he's picking up all those tires, and we'll be able to convey that.
Well, I think they got a great idea as far as the residential side. We have that one a year. We have that trash day, or where people can bring their old laptops, computers, and stuff and throw them away. I mean, I don't know why we couldn't have like a tire day and have a dumpster sitting there for the same opportunity for residential people just to get them there and bring them out here and unload them, and then we'll just take them down and
Okay.
process them. I mean,
we'll include
I
that.
think
In,
it's a-
we'll include that in it.
have a tire day.
Well, I think we need to go to 2 times a year instead of just 1 time.
Well, for that fact, why couldn't you have a dumpster sitting here?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, constantly.
Mhm.
Why just 1 day or 2 days a week, month?
Okay, I know we have a motion on the floor and we're discussing, so let's stay on topic, but I do want
There's
to
a lot of
point out
ideas.
that didn't somewhere we have a conversation about a free dumpster to a community
Yes.
yearly.
And we're in the process of buying those additional ones. They're coming in now. So, I mean, and yeah.
Okay,
Now, are these going to be solely for tires?
Well, now
I mean,
that's
you're going to have to be
one of
careful
the
about
problems
that.
that
You're
is
going to have
correct.
another site, another
Yeah.
trash site.
I will have another trash site, but also you can't mix the tires with the regular household trash because then I've got to take it to the floor and separate it, which is handling it too much. It's easier to, after we look at the tire services, look at the residential, what comes across the weigh station, the scales on a residential. For the tires, we can look at that, maybe setting, one outside. That way they can just come in. We're trying to get a handle on it because all of them's got so backed up on the industrial side.
Well, what about this free dumpster per community? It's the first I've heard about it. When did we talk about that?
Mhm.
Did I just miss something?
we talked about buying extra dumpsters.
And that was the one per community, that the motion. Yes. Not an extra dump, no.
Yeah.
No.
See, I thought you were just going to take a set of the community. Gotcha.
No,
No,
no.
I'm against that.
no, this
No.
is like cleanup day.
Yes.
Like Earth Day, cleanup day, when communities are coming together to clean up their communities, and then we don't have a way to get this to the sites, which brought in the tires. And I know we've run a rabbit here tonight, and I apologize. We still have a motion on the floor, so let me dispense with that. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Lester?
She takes away it. Steve, it actually started at the same time that Honeacre, we put dumpsters at Honeacre in each one of the communities. We just drop them off. They get 2 or 3 days to be able to dump into it, clean up their neighborhoods. We come and pull and dump it for them. Yes. Okay. That last thing on the county administrator request is the Russell County. I'm sorry. Let me back up. Next on it is the travel request for the Commissioner of Revenue, the library, and emergency management travel request.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for travel request. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any
Thank you.
opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last one is on the county administrator request is the Russell County Planning Commission plat. This is a request from the Planning Commission for the lots 1 through 6 being combined in the Banner Heights subdivision. I need approval on the Planning Commission plats.
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to take care of the Planning Commission plats for the Banner Edition down in, I think, the Castlewood Magisterial District. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that concludes the county administrator reports and requests.
Very good. At this time, I'm going to ask for board member discussion and reminders. I'll start with Mr. Lovelace.
I'm good, thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Ray?
Yes. I've been, a lot of people have been contacting me about, they can't get their, household, I mean, not their household trash, but their, like, building materials and stuff down there because they're working Monday through Friday, and, they're just wanting us to check and see if we could open up, like a half a day on Saturday, close on Sunday and Monday. So they've just been asking, so I'm just asking to check that out, see what we can do there.
And again, back to the Waste Management Authority, that's under their autonomy on the landfill. So we would have to wait. You guys sit on the board, so it's hard. So let us go with that request to the Waste Management Authority.
Mr. Eaton?
Yeah, I'll just have one thing. I would like to thank Maxine, and this is a great book. We have people in our county that have really committed their life to public service. I don't want to take it for granted, but this book was published. It's called Johnny the Ambulance. It's in I guess I don't know if I want to say memory or whatever to her husband, but dedication. Thank you. And I want everybody that gets an opportunity to get a book and read it and to purchase one. This is it's just amazing, and I admire them for taking this step to do this. And I just wanted to actually give them some kudos for this and thank you, Maxine. Thank you.
Mr. Breeding,
No, ma'am.
Ms. Dye.
Just a couple of things. Wanted to say thanks to PSA for finishing up the water project all the way to the county line, and to thank Point Broadband. They are bringing it through Green Valley, Corn Valley, and through El Garden. So we're moving right along. Thanks.
Mr. Christian.
She talking about finishing up the water line. I was asked to bring before the board the request of putting a water tank up in that area, because they said the ones that's on public water, they have such a low pressure. They was hoping to get a tank located in that area.
You're a PSA member, or you're at large. So we'll just put that out as a public service announcement tonight here, that we need to think about that, and our PSA folks can think about that.
And I've had the person to approach me that they got a land that they would.
Well, that'll all be controlled, but you'll have to do a hydraulic analysis, make sure that because once you put a tank in, it affects the entire system.
We're sending it to the PSA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. At your request.
Since it came up, I throw it in. They can be thinking about it. They know the hydraulic speed, but if they want to be on the high elevation,
It can be too high, and you'll end up putting pressure reducers in some areas. But they've got a program. They can plug it in there and look.
they would have to.
It needs to be done with the PSA.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Anything else? Okay. And I have nothing further that I need to comment on, but thank everybody for coming. I'm pleased that I want to say one more thing about Miss Velma House. It's Velma House Week, and Wednesday is her big day. So we appreciate citizens like that. Mr. Castle, we're looking for your 100th resolution very soon. Thank you. At this time, I'll adjourn the meeting of the Russell County Board of Supervisors July meeting. Thank you. See you next month.